G'day my succies, it's JazzyQ7 here. Back again for another video, but I know I'm a little bit late. The other few days I haven't been posting, and that's my fault. And because of that, I'm going to have to post to make up for it. That's right, I'm going to post a few more extra videos, not now, but tomorrow, because it's really late at the moment to make up for it. So pretty much I've just been super busy. Like I've had a few friends around and stuff like that. I was gonna make a video in advance, but time is just not that. It's not doing me any good at the moment. It just seems to pass me by faster than I can actually use it. Like I'm not procrastinating bad or anything. I just happen to be like really busy with a lot of life stuff, like working and catching up with friends and doing things that are necessary, including YouTube. But enough random chit chat. I think I'm gonna jump into the video. So today I'm going to be talking about some of the stranger things that happen while I'm working. Like especially on Saturday nights, you never know what you're going to get with people. People who are a bit random. It's like you're throwing together like a puzzle and some of the pieces don't fit, but it still makes sense somehow. And that's how people are sometimes made. I swear, like the people I've seen while I work, like I don't get it, but they exist, and some of the strange things that happen while I work, I don't get it again, but it happened. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna start off with the least strange thing that happened, which it happened the other day with a couple of people. It was a busy day. I think it was like a Friday or a Thursday or something. I was busy working as you do, and trying to catch up, trying to make sure everyone's in line and fairly treated, just friendly and stuff. And when you have a lot of people in, there's more chance that they might know each other. And that's exactly what happened to these two people on the line. They knew each other and they were busy having a good old chat while they needed to be served and people were waiting behind them. And I'm pretty fine with this. I'll just probably politely move them on so they can keep going and I can get on with the job and not make people have to suffer and wait for them to chat. And this lady and this dude who were busy chatting in the line, they were stepping up, and the lady went and bought some food and stuff, but she unluckily forgot her to buy her petrol. And this caused me a lot of grief, in terms of if you don't pay for your petrol, I'm gonna have to chase you down, and I'm gonna have to warn you that you haven't paid for your petrol. And I thought like, oh yeah, she's probably just grabbing like a card out of the car. And the guy there was like, yeah, she'll be back probably. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And then she started driving off. So I turned and looked at him and I'm like, nah, this ain't fine, Chief. And I bolted out of the door. I ninja jumped over the cardboard boxes that were in the way and did a backflip or two and landed on my hands and handstands and like did walking and no, I didn't. I pretty much ran outside as fast as I could and knocked on this lady's car and she was still driving and I had to bang a little harder and then she kept on driving, so I ran next to her and waved like frantically and she was like, oh, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot. And I'm like, all right, this is fine. And I'm like, okay, just come back. We can pay for it there. I just don't want you to get like a fine or anything. Because if you drive off without paying for petrol, believe it or not, you will get fined. And that ain't a good thing, Chief. You could get like criminal records and stuff for stealing. Even though it was unintentional, you're still stealing. So I stopped this lady from being a drive-off incident. She was a nice lady. She was very apologetic about what had happened. And overall, like, it happens. I understand it. But when you're in the line, pay attention to what you're doing, guys. It's kind of important to not steal accidentally. Even though you've got your mates there, just focus on what's going on. It's like people on the phone while they're in the line. It's a bit rude. And the worst thing about this scenario was a little bit after, the guy who was busy chatting with her, he became an issue in himself. And I had to call my manager like to come help me because I work alone, so I have to call my manager if there's anything wrong. And what he didn't understand was he has like a special premium card, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I can just pay with this premium card." But the premium card requires another card, and he didn't have another card, so it just caused me a massive headache. And what he said to me before he was doing any of this was, "Yo, can I prepay petrol?" And who prepays petrol? Like, if you're gonna get a certain amount of petrol, just be careful when you're filling up. Just don't go over. Anyway, so he went and prepaid this petrol with me, but he didn't have the money for it. So of course, more hassle. And then once you paid for petrol or like put it in the machine, it's really difficult to refund it. And I had to go call up my manager, and she was like, "All right, this is how you do it, chief. You'll figure it out, and good luck. Here you go, and you can do it." And so I did it, and it took me about 10-20 minutes. I wasted a lot of time. And the best bit is he didn't even pay for the petrol. He just decided to leave and come back on another day and let his wife do it, because his wife apparently prepays petrol all the time, except probably has money for it, unlike this poor man who just didn't have any money and he expected to pay for petrol. Yeah, great going, dude. So a few other weird people that have come in, mainly people who seem like they're on something. Something's not quite right with them. Like this one guy kind of rocked up while I was working today, so that was maybe 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago. He rocked up and he was wheeling around a trolley with him, not like a regular one, like one of those little granny trolley carry bag things. And he stayed in the store for half an hour just looking at stuff, and he had a really weird look on his face, like he was not with it at all, and he was like kind of derpy. Just imagine like uh NooNoo from Teletubbies. I'll put NooNoo on from Teletubbies on screen here so you can understand what he looked like. And he was just looking around the store. And the worst part about this is when I need to go out and clean certain things outside the store, I have to wait till all the customers are done, and I won't have to serve them. And the worst thing about this man is NooNoo decided to, suck his way out of the store after half an hour of doing nothing and just staring at things. Lol, like, dude, get just pay for something. You didn't need to just stare at everything for half an hour and then just leave. This hurts my soul. I had to watch you do all of this. I had cleaned up everything inside and I had to watch you look around at the store. Yeah, that was a bit disappointing, but you know, poor Nunu, he had something wrong with him. I feel for him, guys. Like, it's not easy being in a position where there's nothing, like, there's something slightly off with you. You understand it yourself, but I know, like, it's still difficult to live with. So I feel for this man. He has it rough. I think one of the weirdest thing that consistently happens is on Saturday nights is when people from across the road at the hotel have need some more cigarettes or something like that. So they rock up into the area just asking for cigarettes or food, and usually after being in a hotel or in a bar, things start getting a bit interesting in terms of what you've consumed in terms of drinks. So these people are like all over the place and in a very, very vulnerable position. And they feel like it's a good idea to have a good chat with the old service station boy. And me being a nice kind of guy, I'll always have a chat with them. And it's kind of fun and weird at the same time because I've had some really deep and interesting conversations with these people, and they've always been grateful of it. But during the day, like, or during every regular night, they're not really that willing to do it. So, having lots of drinks can obviously influence you in terms of being in that mode of deep and meaningful conversations. Like a guy who came in, it's what's it, Saturday over here at the moment. A guy who came in tonight, for instance, he had a big conversation about how he was addicted to cigarettes, and I had a chat with him, and I said, "Yo, addiction ain't cool, bro, but there's always a way to like focus on it and steer it away from yourself. Like the common addiction for sugar, for eating badly. For that, I was pretty much telling him you've just got to replace it with something and use a lot of willpower. And I don't know, it was went on for a while. We were just chatting about other things as well, and he overall became really grateful. And it's a bit strange for being a guy who just, deals out the cigarettes, the petrol, and all that to have these conversations. But I think it's great at the same time, and it's always, it's necessary. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there. Cheers for watching. I hope you have the bestest days ever, like the bestest. And I'll catch you in the next one, my suckies.